For centuries, naming followed a set of unspoken rules. Names were pulled from ancient texts or dead languages, their literal meanings often obscured by Latin or Hebrew roots. To name a child was to participate in a lineage where the history of the word mattered more than its modern sound. By the middle of the 20th century, that tradition began to loosen in the United States. A generation of parents sought to distance themselves from these rigid European naming structures, leaving a cultural space for something less formal. This new trend turned toward the natural world. Instead of honoring ancestors, parents looked to the sky and the landscape to find words that felt dynamic and immediate. Eventually, the process bypassed historical context entirely. Rather than searching for a name with a hidden nature-based meaning, some parents began using literal English adjectives as proper nouns. This brought the word stormy into the nursery. In any other context, the word describes weather that is unpredictable, tempestuous, and potentially destructive. By using the word as a name, the adjective transitioned from a meteorological warning into a human identity. When an adjective is repurposed as a proper noun, its function changes. It no longer describes a temporary state of the weather. It becomes a permanent definition of a person. This lexical choice attaches specific expectations to a persona. Because the word itself is so evocative, it suggests an individual who is passionate and possesses a certain elemental energy. To manage this intensity, parents often use middle names as a stabilizer. They pair the bold first name with traditional, grounded options like Stormy Jane or Stormy May to create a more balanced aesthetic. Other pairings lean into the word's poetic nature. Stormy Dawn, for example, moves the narrative away from the chaos of a storm and toward the calm of a transition. The name also offers significant flexibility. While the variant Storm is more common for boys, the spelling Stormy provides a feminized alternative, showing how a single root word can be adapted for different identities. Unlike names that are inherited, choosing a literal adjective is an active decision to associate a child with a specific, undeniable vibe. To see how this linguistic shift played out in the real world, we can look at the raw data of American births. First recorded in 1944, Stormy remained an extreme rarity through the 1950s. During the 1970s and 80s, it surged in parallel with other nature-inspired names. Its usage peaked in 1992, when 288 babies were given the name. This leads to the question of whether a name can influence a life path, a concept sometimes called nominative determinism. While most people named Stormy live quiet lives, a few notable examples seem to echo the intensity of their name. We see it in figures across various industries, like rock band Stormy Six, jazz musician Stormy Mangham, and political figure Stormy Daniels. But perhaps the most literal example of this connection is Stormy Rottman, a man who spent his career working as a broadcast meteorologist in Denver. While these are just specific cases, they reinforce the public perception of the name as a magnet for people who operate outside the lines. The survival of Stormy in the American lexicon reveals how much our approach to identity has changed. It shows that a name doesn't require a long religious history or a mythological origin to feel meaningful in the modern world. The name remains almost exclusively an American phenomenon. Its rarity in other parts of the world highlights it as a product of a culture that prioritizes individual expression over tradition. Choosing a name like this is a rejection of subtlety. It replaces the hidden meanings of the past with a direct, forceful vocabulary. Ultimately, naming a child Stormy is a decision to embrace the literal. It is the choice to define a person not by their ancestors, but by the raw, natural energy the name implies.